Well, as you can see, we have been getting a little bit of rain here finally. So one good positive this week, trying to look up a little bit more here. The second good positive this week is that about a week or so ago, I finally caught the destroyer of the backyard. And, you know, I've never been happier to have caught anything in my life, because this mole, it was a large ground mole, probably the size of a squirrel in the ground. It was destroying everything. I mean, we lost the Oriental poppy garden over here, parts by the fence and whatever else. And yeah, it was really bad by the time it got done. Anyway, since then, since a little rain, things have really turned around here. So I'm going to show you a few of the things going on the east side garden. So as you can see right now, you can tell there is grass actually starting to come up in the first portion that I did. So yeah, I got some grass holding the ground in place. This is all smoothed out. Then I went ahead and I got the other lower portion that I didn't. You can almost see a line there. And I finished that part up. It's been seeded, and I think it's starting to come up there as well. So neat stuff there. Right here, I moved, this gets shade right in here most of the day. So I moved as many of the hostas, the smaller hostas, right in here that I could get. They were in rough shape. Some of them got sunburned, some of them got slug damage, some of them are just barely hanging on, but we're trying to do the best we can with those. The gardening with Creekside Nursery, the little hydrangeas have never wilted once, and they look superb. Can't wait to see those grow up a little bit more. The oak leaves that I bought locally here in my town at a store called Menards, they have also thrived really well here. They love being up closer to the house and getting a partial day of sun and a partial day of shade. I lucked out at my local, not my local Lowe's, but the Lowe's in the adjacent town. I found these Skybox Proven Winners hollies. Now they don't look like much right now, but they're supposed to take on a pyramid shape, and this will be my evergreen interest that will stay all year long. They are supposed to have berries and stuff too. I thought, well, they're slender. I think 5 to 6 feet tall, maybe 2 to 3 feet wide. So a nice compact but neat looking. The foliage is neat. It's a very thin needled holly. It's not prickly like American holly. It's more of a Japanese style holly. I did go ahead, I think in one of my other videos I talked about how bad the rainbird heads were, that I didn't like those, that they went in a circle. I've started replacing them with the Mr. Landscapers, which are a little bit different. If I can get my camera to focus there. They disperse the water so much better. You get full coverage, whereas I was getting circular coverage with this style. You wouldn't think there would be a huge difference, but it was a really, really big difference. Anyway, this was an existing, I think this is a little lime. It looks a little rough right now. It did bloom after we took the big magnolia tree out. It finally got enough sunlight that it became happy enough to bloom. It did burn in the process too, which looks really bad because the leaves had been used to the shade, and then they got burned, but then it decided it wanted to bloom. So it's kind of in rescue mode right now. We're limping this one along, but I'm going to trim it up, and I think it's going to be perfectly fine here. Give it some good, some of the flower tone fertilizer, and it should be good. It's got its own watering here too. I moved the stone bench, and if you all don't know the story of the stone bench, this came from our farm that we had about 2 or 3 years ago. My family had a farm that had been in the family for about 100 years. And this was a bench that my grandmother had built out of scrap rock that was around on the property. And it was literally the last thing I picked up after we made the sale. People kept saying, rescue the bench, save her bench, whatever. So I put it in the spot down here. Actually, that mole dug up underneath of it, forcing me to move it. I was going to move it anyway up here. So I went ahead and got that put in, and it had 2 roses beside it down there. I moved those. They're not looking the best, but they are getting new growth coming out. So, you know, a little rough, but I think they'll make it. This was an existing oak leaf that was here for quite a while. And it's what made me decide to put the other oak leaf hydrangeas in. So it looks, you know, they get this brown looking bloom after they've bloomed out really pretty and pink all year long. But but that will stay dried on there, and it does add interest too. So anyway, looking back up this way, I've got this much completely done, and that's a huge accomplishment for the kind of year that we've had around here to get the whole side of the house done. Now I'll take you down and show you some of the rest of it. Moving along, I moved the Empress Woo down here. She's still looking a little rough, but this is a spot that I think she's going to like, and I think in another year it will come out and do really well. I didn't want a whole lot going on here because we do have a garden room here. The air conditioning unit is right beside. Some of the house communications are here, so a lot of times this panel has to be lifted off, and that makes it difficult if there's too many plantings in there. This is where you're going to see the biggest change. I have put in a lot of time down here thinking, especially after you remember the mole came through here and damaged so much stuff and made great big mounds in here and out in the yard and around inside the fence and behind the fence and whatever. So we did pull out a lot of things. The stone bench was here, the roses were here. I had dahlias in there that weren't thriving. I got rid of those. I left the clematis here. There was a rose here that may get moved. These lilies may get moved still. They're just kind of, it's a holding spot right now, but this is the pattern that it's going to take on. I've not gotten anything done. Actually, I ran out here and did this 2 hours before the first big rainstorm came the other day and got this laid out. This is going to go around. It's perfectly sized for the mature size of the weeping white spruce. So I've got to go back in. I'm going to lay cardboard down, mulch this, and do some final fix up. And then out here, I've got to work on the ground and get the grass in. But before I do that, we have drainage down here. There are, 1 drain pipe, 2, 3 drain pipes, 4 drain pipes, and these things take probably half the amount of water off the back of the house, or the entire house comes out right here. So if you really look closely, you can see some erosion going on right here from the rains that we've had, some washing. I'm going to try to put in a dry well here. I'm thinking about digging this out right here and putting in a dry well that will encompass this corner area, and I'm going to cut this pipe off back to here, have the dry well in here where all these pipes can meet. That way it will at least take 50 to 100 gallons in like a holding tank there, and I can gravel that over and just make it look like an ornamental decorative part of this. So it's going to be a huge undertaking, but one I want to do now while I'm into all this mess. Because, hey, it's a mess right now. It's the perfect time to do it, right? So, yeah, still got to level out the ground back here, seed and straw, but it's on its way. One other thing before I leave the back, I'll show my cannas off just a little bit. This is a bronze orange. I love the bronze leaves. It's a little diseased, but don't look at that one. Look at these. And then look at the pretty bronze bloom. It's not been the best year for some things, And this is a white, just a standard white canna. I really like that one. It's the prettiest it's ever been. But this is the gem right here. This is Cleopatra. If you've never seen a Cleopatra canna, it's got the striped leaves, and then it's got the blooms that will either bloom red, yellow, or a mixture of both on the same stalk. Very unique bloom to this one. They're not the prettiest blooms because this is the end of the day, but still you get the idea. So yeah, love my cannas. I think I'm going to do more cannas around this room next year. So with great success with the mole issue on that side of the yard, guess what happened on this side of the yard? Okay, this is our drainage box. As you can see, we have a long driveway that comes down a hill, and then we have this drainage collection center here that keeps the water from rushing over and taking out the hillside. Now I've got a mole that's decided to come up here and dig all the way around this. And I found a tunnel the other day, so I've put my new scissor trap in there, hoping that I can catch this little menace that's tearing up the hillside now. So you get one side taken care of and then they start on the other. I don't know. It's just been one of those kind of years. The driveway island is one of those things that even though it looks a little rough, it still looks really good, and it has held in there all year long. And you know, these flowers here, if you don't think they've been through a beating this year, you know, you just don't even understand. I mean, first the spring was so wet I could barely get them in the ground, and then it got so hot and dry here that I thought we were going to be considered a desert climate for the longest time. The cannas out here, for some reason, did not thrive. They did behind the house. I don't know, there's something about the climate they like better back there. So I'm trying to work out a centerpiece plant in here that's tall, that will be more in tune with this area out here. I don't know what that's going to be. So next year I've got to get in my mind something different, maybe a different type of grass. Maybe I need bigger. These are in pots in the ground. Maybe I need to get bigger pots in there and less than 5, maybe go back to 3. I don't know. Something to think about. If you have suggestions, leave them. Tell me what you think would work here. It's Garden Zone 6B in Kentucky. And you know I don't care to take things in the fall. So the pretty red begonias from Proven Winners have done super. They have been very, very pretty all year long. The Proven Winners Vista White, the smalls, these are the mini Vistas, also have done great. The caladiums, love it out here. It's just, I need some more height to go along with the Verbena bonariensis. So think about that. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think would look good in the center of the driveway island. Well, my friends, that's going to wrap it up this week. Just a little tour around the yard of things that are going on and projects that are finally starting to get completed. I know it's been rough. This has been a rough video year to try to get anything out. I've been really busy with work, and then this weather has just... it seems like the weather has been the worst on my days off. You know, isn't it always the way things go? But when I get the weekend here, it's like, ugh, I can't do anything. It's raining or it's so hot, you know, you can't stand to even be out here. And really, right now, the humidity is through the roof where it's just rained and the sun is boiling. And that is just the catalyst for more severe storms. And that's what we're looking at tonight around 8 or 9 p.m. So, yeah, feast or famine with the rain and stuff. It's the way it always is around here. So anyway, I hope you all are having a great week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.